In this episode, we take a close look at the future of Total War, with an announcement about an announcement from Creative Assembly, Dawn of War 4 moving forward without its familiar frontman, and another promising RTS entering early access after 7 years of development. All this and more on Critical News. When Creative Assembly published their 25th anniversary message, the subtext told a clearer story than their marketing. They're announcing multiple games in December, with industry sources pointing towards Warhammer 40k and Star Wars projects. The question becomes whether historical Total War dies in the process, and whether Creative Assembly understands what the community wants anymore. The announcement reads like damage control after years of questionable decisions. Pharaoh landed with minimal impact, Three Kingdoms 2 got cancelled entirely, and the community has spent years demanding Medieval 3 or Empire 2, while Creative Assembly chased fantasy audiences. Warhammer 40k makes business sense given their successful partnership with Games Workshop and existing infrastructure. The setting provides faction diversity, massive army compositions, and visual spectacle that Total War systems handle well. Space Marines vs Orcs vs Chaos offers the asymmetric gameplay that makes Warhammer Total War successful, with name recognition that drives sales beyond strategy gaming circles. Star Wars presents more complex challenges because Disney's involvement means creative restrictions could strangle gameplay innovation. Previous Star Wars strategy games succeeded when they embraced arcade sensibilities or failed under licensing requirements. Empire at War worked because it prioritised fun over lore accuracy, while other attempts died under the weight of canon compliance that prevented meaningful mechanical experimentation. Both titles will require space combat systems that Creative Assembly has never attempted, presenting technical challenges that could determine success or expensive failure. Adapting Total War's engine for three-dimensional space warfare while maintaining tactical depth represents significant development risk beyond the land-based battles that form the series' core identity. But the real question concerns historical Total War's future. Creative Assembly's anniversary message provides mixed signals that should worry long-time fans. They mention the historical roots as foundational, yet recent actions suggest historical development has been an afterthought. Rome Remastered got outsourced, Pharaoh felt like an overpriced asset flip, and Three Kingdoms 2 cancellation indicates internal dysfunction around historical projects. The community has been asking for Medieval 3 since Medieval 2's support ended, and Empire 2 generates similar enthusiasm amongst players who want proper naval integration and expanded diplomatic systems. These aren't fringe demands from vocal minorities, they represent core constituencies that supported Total War through the most successful period. Medieval 2 and Empire represent the franchise at its creative peak, when Creative Assembly balanced mechanical depth with historical authenticity. Creative Assembly faces a fundamental decision about their identity moving forward. Fantasy Total War brought new revenue streams and broader audiences, but also shifted development resources away from the historical complexity that made Total War special. Warhammer Total War succeeded because it applied existing historical systems to fantasy settings, not because it reinvented Total War's core identity. The December showcase will reveal whether Creative Assembly remembers what made them successful. If they announce Medieval 3 alongside licensed properties, it suggests they understand their communities include multiple player groups. If they focus entirely on fantasy and sci-fi, it confirms they've chosen spectacle over the depth that built their reputation. Medieval 3 and Empire 2 represent more than nostalgic wishes. They represent Creative Assembly's commitment to the systems and historical authenticity that distinguish Total War from other strategy franchises. Modern technology could enhance medieval siege warfare, political intrigue, and economic systems in ways impossible during Medieval 2's development. Empire 2 could integrate naval and land warfare more seamlessly, while expanding trade networks and diplomatic complexity beyond what 2009 technology allowed. King Art Games made a decision that will anger some Dawn of War fans and please others who understand game design fundamentals. Gabriel Angelos won't appear in Dawn of War 4, despite his status as series mascot across 3 games. Creative director Jan Thiessen explained the reasoning to IGN with refreshing honesty about power creep problems that plague long-running franchises. Thiessen told IGN they don't want Gabriel because he felt overpowered, creating impossible design problems. Either you start with an overpowered character that breaks game balance, or you use the tired amnesia trope to artificially weaken him. Both options insult player intelligence while creating mechanical headaches that affect entire game systems. Angelos started Dawn of War as a company captain with reasonable power levels that complemented tactical gameplay. By Dawn of War 3 he became chapter master with demon slaying credentials and enough plot armour to survive situations that would kill normal space marines. This progression created a character whose power levels make him the solution to most tactical problems, reducing the importance of armour composition and strategic positioning that define good real-time strategy games. King Art chose complete removal and replaced them with Cyrus and Jonah from Dawn of War 2. These characters have established personalities without Gabriel's accumulated baggage, and the power levels align with normal units instead of dominated battlefield strategy. Thiessen noted that they're more similar to regular units in capabilities, supporting the tactical focus that community surveys requested. This decision reflects King Art's broader philosophy of returning to Dawn of War 1's design principles, where heroes enhanced army composition without becoming win conditions themselves. The original game balanced hero abilities with tactical complexity, making heroes useful without overshadowing resource management and unit positioning. Dawn of War 2 and 3 gradually shifted towards hero-centric gameplay that prioritised character abilities over the base building and army management that made Dawn of War special. Removing overpowered heroes supports community demands for returning to base building emphasis and tactical depth. Players who want to construct bases and manage armies need heroes that complement these systems without dominating them. Gabriel's current power level makes proper army composition less important because his abilities solve problems that should require strategic thinking and resource allocation. The character selection also serves narrative purposes by allowing fresh storytelling opportunities while maintaining connections to previous games. Their presence provides continuity for series fans while avoiding the narrative constraints that Gabriel's prominence would create. King Art prioritised functional game design over nostalgic fan service, suggesting they understand that successful sequels need mechanical integrity more than familiar faces. Characters should serve gameplay purposes beyond name recognition, and story elements should support game systems instead of dictating them. The decision carries marketing risks because Gabriel Angelos has name recognition, but the alternative problems outweigh these concerns. Overpowered heroes create balance issues that affect entire game systems. Red Chaos: The Strict Order launches into early access on September 26th after 7 years of development, and Square Cut Games claims they've built a complete real-time strategy experience with 2 factions, multiplayer support, and 12 tutorial missions. The game promises tactical battles with resource gathering, base building, and unit production mechanics that should feel familiar to anyone who played Command & Conquer or similar classics. The developers chose early access to fine-tune balance and develop additional content based on community feedback, with plans to stay in early access for approximately 6 months before full release. The final version will include additional maps, a complete single-player campaign, and improvements based on player input. Red Chaos takes place in a post-apocalyptic setting where a global war devastated most of the Earth except for Greenland, which became the site of a new world government. The Iron Hand regime oppressed civilians who fled there seeking fresh starts, leading to resistance movements formed by former generals and soldiers. Players can choose between the Empire faction seeking reunification or the Resistance fighting for independence. The setup provides clear faction asymmetry and narrative context for why these groups fight, though the premise sounds familiar to anyone who's played real-time strategy games over the past 2 decades. Post-apocalyptic settings and Resistance versus Empire conflicts have become standard because they provide easy moral frameworks and explain resource scarcity that justifies base building mechanics. What distinguishes Red Chaos from other real-time strategy games remains unclear from their promotional materials, which focus on generic features like resource gathering, base construction, and unit production without explaining what makes their implementation special. They mention a well-thought-out balance system and tactical depth through unit strengths and weaknesses, but these claims need demonstration through actual gameplay rather than marketing. The game supports up to 6 players in multiplayer matches, suggesting they're targeting the competitive real-time strategy audience that values replayability through human opponents. Multiplayer longevity depends on mechanical depth and balance quality that can't be evaluated until players have stress tested the systems enough through extended play. 7 years of development time could indicate either thorough polish or development problems that required extensive reworking, and early access will reveal which situation applies. Indie real-time strategy games face significant challenges competing against established franchises with larger development teams and marketing budgets, so Red Chaos needs compelling mechanical innovations or exceptional execution to find its audience. King's Subsidy launched its demo on Steam this week, presenting a turn-based economic strategy game that combines medieval resource management with roguelike elements to create constantly shifting economic conditions. The demo restricts players to 1 character and limited missions while showcasing over 60 crafting recipes through a complex production tree that forces strategic decisions between forging tools and weapons or minting gold coins for trade. Players explore 16 different mine types while building cities and managing tax obligations to the crown, though the developers hint that loyal cooperation with royal authority may not represent the only path to economic success. The prologue for Celestial Empire arrived free on Steam last week as the opening chapter of an ancient China-themed city builder that promises to let players establish their dynastic foundations across historically inspired landscapes. The prologue covers initial city construction, population management and atmospheric exploration of ancient Chinese settings, while teaching core mechanics that players can evaluate before committing to the full version purchase. The development team actively solicits Steam reviews to guide their stated goal of creating the best city builder ever made, which represents considerable ambition for a studio without established track record in the genre. The Dawn of War Definitive Edition received its 2.20 update addressing gameplay problems, multiplayer stability issues, and user interface bugs while implementing additional logging systems to help Relic diagnose persistent crash and desync errors that have plagued certain players. The patch corrects Honor Guard unit accounting errors in Dark Crusade, improves AI construction logic to prevent building stalls, and fixes Sisters of Battle squad cap research that's providing 3 additional slots instead of the intended 4. Relic also resolved the configuration problem that forced all automatch players to use default army colours and banners instead of their custom army painted designs. Our History Untold released its version 2 Revolutions update on September 24th that introduces culture and influence systems designed to provide alternatives to military expansion in the late game phases when exploration and territorial growth have reached natural limits. The update adds unique units for every civilization, from Mongol horse archers to Japanese samurai, redesigns all leader abilities for greater personality differences, and introduces agitate units that can foment rebellions in foreign territories through ideological subversion. Stardock is replacing micromanaged production queues with priority and quota systems that reduce busy work while improving AI behaviour to create more dynamic diplomatic and strategic challenges through extended campaigns. On Friday's episode of Critical Moves podcast, we attempt to right some wrongs from episode 41, where we talked about the state of 4X gaming. This time we're joined by the experts from Explorminate to provide the analysis we clearly lacked the first time round. We got called knuckleheads for our previous 4X discussion, so we brought in people who understand the genre to set us straight and explain what we missed. That's all from Critical News. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Take it easy. Goodbye.